Okay, so we have a jobs number coming out tomorrow, which is the final days of the election. This could be a big deal. Carlos, do you think that this could move the needle one way or the other?
Well, Donald Trump's frustrated because he said he already should be up given the jobs numbers so far. And so I'm sure he's thinking no matter what happens tomorrow. Now, I think if it was incredibly anemic, maybe that would give a little bit of bump. The most interesting thing is that FBI revelation, at least according to the New York Times poll, has taken Hillary Clinton from up 9 to only up 3. Mm-hmm. And you see a lot more activity on her side, a little bit of concern, not panic, but concern. So a really anemic number, who knows, maybe could have an impact.
Right, it could jiggle things. And there is some history that shows that the electorate gets this sort of fixed impression of where the economy is months before the election, and it kind of stays there, and it's very hard to move the needle this close. I mean, do you think that's true?
Yeah, to a certain extent, yes. Looking at the September unemployment rate, for example, it's actually really low. It's the second lowest it's been before an election year in the last 50 years.
The job story has been positive for the past several months.
But I think what we're seeing is that Trump voters, their anxiety about where the country's headed is not rooted in the economy. They're actually doing relatively well compared to other voters. So I think it's a larger question about where the country's headed, a question of American identity, rather than just jobs.
Right, and that's been fueling this whole singular, unprecedented election. Andrew, what's your take on that?
I agree. I mean, the thing that strikes me with both the things you guys said is we're so close at this point. I think most people made up their minds, and I don't think anything that happens right now is going to shake them from that.
What's so funny is I know so many of us who live on the coast feel that way. We feel like what more information do you need? Right. And yet it is interesting to keep bumping into people who do feel like they yet are making up their minds. But the other thing that is a lot of people have already voted, which is we've had 25 million people vote, and by Tuesday maybe 50, maybe even 60 million people will have cast their ballots.
Which is much higher than normal.
Much higher than normal, so it's gone from kind of the low 30s to maybe 40% this year.
What do you think, Carlos, about this theory that about the secret Trump voters, that people are not coming clean to pollsters because there is a stigma with associating yourself with Donald Trump, and that, we saw this in the primary a little bit. Do you think that the numbers might surprise because of that?
I think folks are genuinely worried about that. Early on the last couple of weeks, they were saying it's a mirage, but I think they really were worried that maybe he was right, and a little bit like Brexit, you may end up with a different place. But I think enough pollsters have doubled down and seem to feel differently, and so I think we'll wait and see. It's interesting. I have to give Mr. Trump credit that he has set himself up in either direction. He's either going to win or he's going to lose and say it was rigged.
Right.
And so one way or another, we'll see. But I'll be curious, and I'll be curious about that, less so in some of the swing states like Ohio and Iowa, and more so in places like California. Like, will we get a surprise? Mm-hmm. We don't expect it, but will we get a surprise, and will he get a higher vote total than any of us would have projected?
Right.